Friday Harbour is a 600-acre one mixed-use development in Innisfil, Ontario, Canada, 70 kilometers north of Toronto. Built by the Geranium Corporation II, the development contains residential, commercial, and recreational spaces, including a marina and golf course. Situated on Lake Simcoe's Big Bay Point, the resort's focal point is a 1,000 slip-inland marina, the largest of its kind in Canada. Once construction is complete, there will be 2,600 residential units, a 400-room hotel, 3 and a theater. Envisioned as a new urbanist village, Friday Harbour was designed to be an alternative to the traditional residential offerings of Ontario's cottage country, which are typically single-family homes located on or near a body of water. In this design, the connection to the water and nature would be maintained, but the dependence on driving over walking for daily necessities would be eliminated or greatly reduced. DPS Codesign, the designers of Seaside, Florida, a notable early example of a new urbanist development in North America, were brought on to design Friday Harbour. The first residents took occupancy in 2017-6 along with the opening of the first restaurants and shops on the pedestrian promenade. History Big Bay Point, where Friday Harbour is located, first saw the arrival tourists in the 1800s. Long an area known to local indigenous population, early settlers constructed the first resort in this location, the Robinson House, in the mid-1880s. This was soon followed by the 60-room luxury Peninsular Park Hotel, the front lawn of the Peninsular Park Hotel in 1910. It became known as a popular destination for American tourists looking to experience the wild of the Canadian wilderness. The hotel burned down in 1955. An inland marina, called Big Bay Marina, would eventually open in the area. Earl Rum, a local resident and president of the real estate developer Geranium Corporation, brought his boat to be repaired at the marina. While there, he saw a sketch of an unrealized real estate development for the site hanging on a wall. This inspired him to pursue his own development of the Big Bay Marina. The first formal proposal for a resort at Big Bay Point was in 2002. It faced large opposition from homeowners in the area, including lawsuits. After the development was approved by the Ontario Municipal Board in 2007, construction did not begin until 2011-12 Phase 1, which included the marina, nature preserve, 12, and residential units. 13 was completed in 2018. Promenade. The area surrounding the marina is a pedestrianized zone known as the Promenade. It is made up of restaurants, shops, a homeowner's clubhouse with a gym and restaurant, and a visitor center where boaters can refuel, shower, and purchase supplies. View of the Promenade, a pedestrian area in the resort with shops and restaurants. CIBC Pier extending outwards into the marina. CIBC Pier leads to an event space and bar, where concerts and different community activities are held. Activities. Friday Harbour Resort offers a variety of activities for all seasons. 15 Winter activities notion sortions country skiing marina skating fat bike rentals promenade holiday market summer activities the nest golf beach soccer basketabian banbantanbaba up paddleboard dingier round activities. Nature trails bike rentals golf Kurseth Nest Golf Club Nest Golf Course in October 2020 Club information. Friday Harbour Resort is located in southern Ontario. Friday Harbour Resort coordinates 44 3838 and 79 5 for 61486 location 3800 Friday Innisfil, Ontario 9S3E1 established 2018. 6 years Agatypasimi Privatown Friday Harbour Resort total holes 18 greens bent grass fairways bent grass website www.fridayharbour.com/golf-the-nest designed Bidog Carrickpar 72. The Nest Logo. Friday Harbour is home to the Nest Golf Club, an 18-hole golf course. The clubhouse features a pro shop and restaurant. During winter months, the course is open as a snowshoeing trail. In 2019, the nest received Gold Signature Sanctuary certification from Audubon International for the club's work protecting the course's natural setting. 16. Four Seasons of Great Escapes live every day. Like its Friday Harbor wasn't designed to be a place. It was designed to be a destination. A destination you look forward to visiting all year round, where you can unwind and truly feel relaxed. Whether you arrive to take in the peaceful serenity of the lake, spend hours in the nature preserve, or mingle with friends over a gourmet meal, there's no shortage of ways to enjoy your days. At Innisfil's Friday Harbor, you'll look forward to every day, because Innisfil is a town in Ontario, Canada, located on the western shore of Lake Simcoe in Simcoe County, immediately south of Barrie and 80 kilometers 50 mi north of Toronto. It has historically been a rural area, but since it is geographically sandwiched between the high-growth areas of Barrie and the York region, there has been growing residential development in Innisfil. Etymological name Innisfil comes from the Irish Innisfil, an ancient mythological name for Ireland. The history of Innisfil spans a period in excess of 170 years. The town was hewn from almost unbroken virgin forests which had been home to the Huron Indians, and was first surveyed in 1820. The area encompassed 68,653 acres 278 km2, including the villages of Allendale, Tallendale, Painswick, Minutes Point, and Holly. At the time, the first settlers were the Hewson and Sewells families, who came by way of the East Holland River and Lake Simcoe to settle at Point Endeavour. They renamed the area Hewson's Point, later named Big Bay Point. The Hewsons settled on March 3, 1820, and the Sewells in 1822. The Warnica family settled the following year, in 1823, in the area now known as Painswick. The first sawmill in the township was built at Tallendale by George McCullen in 1829. At this time, James Sewells owned a sawmill on the south half of Lot 26, Concession 14 Big Bay Point, Innisfil, where he made the lumber for the construction of the first frame house in Innisfil for Louis J. Clement. John and George Warnica completed the clearing of the bush between Barrie and Churchill. John Caton had won the contract to open the road between Churchill and the 11th line of West Gwillimbury, but only made it 1 mile north to the 12th, known as Caton's Corners. Owing to his slight acquaintance with the forest, he sublet the work to John and George Warnica, who completed Caton's contract between the 4th line of Innisfil Churchill and the 12th line of West Gwillimbury, north of Bradford. This opened the land route, known as Penetanguishene Road, which later became part of Yonge Street. It was later designated as a portion of Highway 11 and is now Simcoe County Road 4. This route between York, now Toronto, and Barrie was completed in the fall of 1825. Along this road, the settlers came and spread out along the concession lines to clear the lands and develop their farms. There had been those who came ahead by way of the river and the lake. Many settled near the shores of Lake Simcoe and Kempenfelt Bay. The only channels of communication were the public roads, and these were scant and poor. The pioneer farms cut from the forest were mostly self-sustaining. What few products there were for sale found a market in nearby Barrie, which was then little more than a village. Distant York was reached in the winter, when the ice and snow made for better roads. During this period, post offices, churches, and stores were established. Also, a form of local government performed by commissioners was appointed under a provincial act. The first post office, then called Innisfil, was located at what is now called Barclay's Corners. The first school was built in 1838 and located at Myers Corners, later called Victorian, a community of Stroud. The first church was also at Victoria and was of Methodist denomination. Milling in Innisfil was first done at Tallendale in 1835. The need for a grist mill to grind wheat is an indication of the progress toward an agricultural community. The earliest official record of a census shows that by 1842, the population of Innisfil was 762. Establishment year 1850 marked the end of the old commissioners' rule. The population had increased to 1807, nearly tripling in under a decade. The first municipal council was established, replacing the government of appointed commissioners. The corporation of the township of Innisfil was born. The settlement of Allendale became more prominent with the construction of the Ontario, Simcoe, and Huron Railway, later the Northern Railway from Toronto to Collingwood. The first train from Toronto arrived in Allendale on October 11, 1853. The continued building of public roads, together with the railway and the lake navigation, resulted in the establishment of more flourishing hamlet settlements. Belle Ewart was formed in 1854. Henry's Corners, now Thornton, was formed in 1833. Perry's Corners, now Cookstown, was formed around 1859. Hamlet settlement also resulted in a burgeoning resort development along the entire shoreline. In 1891, 500 acres to km2 of Innisfil became incorporated as the village of Allendale, now part of the city of Barrie. Barrie annexed a further 500 acres to km2 in 1897. Innisfil flourished over the years, and by 1950, had a population of 3,500. However, paved roads, the automobile the first recorded in the town was 1912. The price of fuel, and the cost of housing outside Toronto, encouraged commuter residents. This, in turn, gradually changed the nature of Innisfil's shoreline development. Seasonal housing evolved to permanent residential. Now, when about 90% of the shoreline is permanent residences, citation needed modern development. Cookstown, at the southwest extremity of the town, became an incorporated village in 1962, with 100 acres for 0.000m2 of Innisfil becoming part of Cookstown. In 1967, 597 acres to 4 km2 were annexed from Innisfil by the city of Barrie to accommodate the establishment of the Formosa Spring Brewery. The modern brewery was located on the northwest corner of the land, beside Ontario Highway 400, a notable landmark due to its 3 large and brightly colored tanks. In 1974, the facility was purchased by Molson's and the empty land was developed into a park and concert venue known as Molson Park. Molson closed the brewery after purchasing Carling O'Keefe in 1989, moving operations to Carling's recently renovated brewery near Pearson International Airport in Toronto. Molson then sublet the brewery buildings to other businesses while selling off the land, before it closed entirely and forms today's Park Place. 3 on January 1, 1982, 8,623 acres 35 km2 were annexed to the city of Barrie, with a further 737 acres 3 km2 to be annexed January 1, 1987. As a result of the annexations, Innisfil's population was reduced by approximately 26.7% to 12,153 permanent residents, and its total assessment was reduced by 20.4%. On January 1, 1991, by virtue of the South Simcoe Act, the township of Innisfil, a northern section of the township of West Willamberry, and the village of Cookstown were amalgamated and incorporated as the town of Innisfil. In 1993, the Ontario Stockyards livestock facility, located for a long time in the Junction West Toronto area in Toronto, relocated to just east of the Cookstown town site, on Highway 89. The County of Simcoe Act provided for further restructuring of Simcoe County on January 1, 1994, when the village of Thornton was amalgamated with the township of Essa, and a small section of the township of Essa, adjacent to Cookstown, was amalgamated with Innisfil. As of 2006, Innisfil had a total permanent population of 31,175, and an estimated seasonal population of 4,000 people. Having begun as a community of seasonal homes for people living in Toronto, it is now a popular place for permanent residents, mostly families and empty nesters, and, indeed, most of the cottages along the lakeshore have since been converted into year-round homes. The province of Ontario enacted legislation that enabled the city of Barrie to annex 2,293 acres 9u28 km2 from the town of Innisfil on January 1, 2004. The land in question extended south beyond 10th Line, west of the 10th Side Road, and as far south as Lockhart Road on the east side of the 10th Side Road. 5. Innisfil retained the community of Stroud, but the community of Steady Pauls was shifted to Barry. In 2017, the mixed-use development Friday Harbor opened on Big Bay Point. 6. In 2019, Cortel Group proposed a long-term transit-oriented development, dubbed the Orbit, around the station, with the goal of 30,000 people living in the area in the near future. Initially, the long-term goal after the development's completion was for 150,000 residents, though this has since been reduced to 90,000 residents and 20,000 jobs. That November, Innisfil Town Council approved the Orbit as Cortel committed to funding the station. 789. In 2020, the provincial government issued a Minister's Zoning Order MZO to expedite the Orbit.